I'm your host, Jeff Zart. We're going to take you behind the scenes with the craft distillers who are pouring their heart and soul into crafting the next version of America's spirit. This is the Great American Whiskey Cookers. Nestled in the middle of Louisville, Kentucky is Oxmoor Farms. You might not have heard of this, but it's an actual working farm that has roots all the way back to the writing of the Bottled in Bond Act. Matter of fact, part of it was written here. You might recognize the name of the owners, Bullitt, who still own it today, and Evan Williams provided the bricks that built the chimney. It's newly discovered bourbon history. You gotta check it out. This is Jeff with the Great American Whiskey Cookers. We are in Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm at Oxmoor Bourbon Company at the Oxmoor Farm. This is in the middle of Louisville. If you've never been here, you're going to want to try and come here because I think the history we're going to find on this farm is absolutely out of this world. It's something I've never heard of before. So we're going to meet Shirley, the curator, and we're going to see all about Oxmoor Bourbon Company. If she lets me in. Hopefully she lets me in. Oh, there we go.
Hi.
Hi, Shirley.
Yes.
I'm Jeff.
Nice to meet you, Jeff.
This is going to be so much fun. I've never heard of Oxmoor Bourbon Company.
Well, you're not alone. A lot of people here, even a little, don't know we exist back here. A little hidden historical oasis.
Fantastic.
A lot of new history related to bourbon that you're going to find out today.
Let's go. I love it. So tell me about the room that we're in.
Right now we're standing in the study, which is off the Grand Library. So this would have been a study used by William Marshall Bullitt, the guy who argued against Prohibition, and his son Tommy, the guy who bottled our 1963 product here. So yes, so this would have been their home office, so to speak.
Okay.
And it comes right off of our beautiful Grand Library. This is where people will start the tour.
Okay.
They do not see the library until the end. It's kind of a wow moment.
Sure.
So you start the tour in this room, go out into the formal gardens out here, which by the way includes a pet cemetery.
I saw that.
Did you see that?
Yeah, that's
I try to tell people that from the very get-go because, you know, some people, they look at that and they're like, wow, they buried the family very close to the house.
Yeah, well.
And I have to say, well, read the tombstones, read the headstones, and you find, as soon as you start reading them and you figure out, oh, these are their dogs.
Well, I kind of figured it out as I was looking at it because the tombstones are really close together.
They are very close.
Like, they wouldn't bury people that close.
They wouldn't bury the people that close together. And there's 4 horses buried out there. And people look at me as strange too, and they're like, wait a minute. You've got 4 horses? Like how? There's not enough space, right? But they only bury the heart and the hooves of the horse.
Oh, there's some
new information for you. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So that cemetery dates back to 1916. The 4th generation owner, William Marshall, his wife Nora, was a huge animal lover. I mean, she even had a pet monkey back in the day. I have a picture of her with the pet monkey on her shoulder, but always had a dog. And so when her first dog that she brought here to Oxmoor passed away, she wanted to memorialize him and created the pet cemetery.
So my question is, how come nobody knows? I mean, this is...
Good question. So new history, right? Like we hear that word. This is new history. Nobody's heard this before. Well, where we're standing now, the Oxmoor House, this has been the Bullitt family home since 1787 until 2005. So
there's people living here until 2005.
Until 2005. And all of these historic documents that we were garnering all this information from had been kept with the family. It actually was sitting in the basement here, or out in the old summer kitchen, or the old hemp barn, or whatever other outbuilding we could find these things. And we put all of this together, this whole collection together, ends up being about 185 cubic feet of documentation.
That's
amazingly large, right? The largest collection we have on deposit here at our local historical society. So as we're going through this newly discovered papers, although they've been sitting out here for hundreds of years, we're finding all of this information. So that is why it's not well known. Even when you get to other legislation that we haven't talked about yet, that you would think we might have more of a paper trail for. So William Marshall Bullitt's father, Thomas W. Bullitt, grandfather, father, same name. That's going to happen a lot in these other families. You're going to get that same name. Okay, which Thomas are we talking about right now? So Thomas Walker Bullitt's born out here in 1838, fights in the Civil War, Returns after the war, starts practicing law. Well, guess who else is getting up on their feet after the Civil War? All these distilleries.
Yep.
They had been decimated from the war.
Yeah.
They're rebuilding. This is the time period where we're going to get industrialization, monopolies, things like this, trusts that are going to come into effect. And
Yeah.
he starts representing all of these distilleries. Well, around the late 1880s, there's clamoring for some type of legislation
Right.
that's going to protect whiskey, right? Because people are just putting everything they can
Right.
find their hands
Card juice. and
Exactly.
iodine
Yeah.
and-
Yeah. Making it look like it's been aged for a long time.
Right.
Some of this is not good for the consumer, obviously.
Yeah. Right.
And so we're going to have distilleries here, as well as our local politicians that are in DC kind of fighting for some type of law that will protect
Right.
whiskey, right? And so we get the Secretary of the Treasury at that time is John G. Carlisle. He is a Kentuckian. Our Kentucky Senator, Walter Evans, is pushing for this as well. And they just need a lawyer to help them out to kind of draft this legislation.
Sure.
So Thomas Walker Bullitt is tasked with that job of helping form what we call the Carlisle Bill, or the Bottled and Bond
Bottled
Act.
and Bond Act.
And as we're thumbing through all these old papers, this is just a few weeks ago, we're turning pages and here we see a draft for the Carlisle Bill legislation. I was like, wait a minute. So he is drafting the first few drafts that we see that will become Bottled and Bond.
And that Bottled and Bond Act still holds today, even though it's not necessarily as hard protected.
Right.
Right. We don't
Right.
have revenuers on site on distilleries
Right.
and everything, but it's still a big deal.
Yeah.
And for any distillery to have a Bottled and Bond product, there's some really hard rules for it.
There's some very hard rules for that. That's right. Yeah. To get that little stamp that goes over the top, right?
Exactly. Right.
Which today is probably more of like a, not a gimmicky thing, but a kind of neat thing to add to your bottle, right?
Well,
Whereas
yeah.
back then, it was like literally telling the consumer, this is what it says it is in the bottle. You
Yeah.
don't have to worry that you're not going to get something that's not what
Yeah.
it says it is. Yeah.
So he was instrumental in helping draft the Bottled and Bond Act.
Yes.
Came out of this house.
Came out of this house. Isn't that crazy?
That is
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.